Covering the historic Vatican summit on the scene is national correspondent for the Tablet and Crux, Christopher White. He joins us now from Rome. Christopher, always good to see you.
Thanks, Liz. Good to be back with you.
Christopher, India's Cardinal Oswald Gracias had some harsh words to say about sex abuse not being simply a Western problem and how the church has let down survivors. Before we begin, let's listen.
Failure to listen to victims, to take their claims seriously, not extending care and support to victims and their families, giving priority to protecting institutional concerns over and above the care of victims, failing to withdraw abuse from situations that would enable them to abuse other victims.
How were his words received?
Well, as I think the Cardinal's remarks from it is sort of lay down a marker that this is certainly a global problem and requires a global solution. I spoke with folks that were in the room yesterday, and of course their comments are off the record, and not for attribution, but there were frank discussions in certain groups where particularly bishops from Asia and Africa were saying this is more of a Western problem, and I think the Cardinal wanted to use his time and his position as a prelate from India to say this is a universal problem and we all have to get on board.
We heard from another Cardinal as well, Cardinal Supich, who outlined a new plan for bishop accountability. What did that entail?
Well, as the Cardinal outlined, sort of a three-stepped process where one, new standards would be sort of set at the episcopal level. So in the United States, new sort of guidelines for all U.S. bishops. And then in cases of allegations against a bishop, the sort of regional bishop would oversee an investigation alongside a review board of lay national experts. And then finally, those cases would be sent to the Vatican for Pope Francis to make a final judgment on.
Very important part of this summit, Christopher, the victims, and some of them from the United States, met with the U.S. ambassador to the Holy See, Callista Gingrich. What was that meeting about?
Well, Liz, this meeting came at the request of these victim survivors who wanted to meet with the State Department, and I'm told that this is the first meeting of its kind where State Department officials actually met with victims about the sexual abuse crisis. The ambassador issued a statement after the meeting saying that it was a powerful meeting. It's something that the president is very concerned about, and that the U.S. State Department applauds Pope Francis's leadership on this issue.
Now, day two of this summit has wrapped up. There is so much to digest, but what's the general mood like in Rome?
Well, as among the survivors, I think there's still a lot of concern that when we get to Sunday, when all this wraps up, that we'll hear strong words, but not any real indication of what action is going to follow. And these survivors really want, if not concrete action on Sunday, they want a timeline of promises to be made and when to expect them. Now, that being said, among those in the room, I'm told they're very hopeful that in these small groups they're having some very honest conversations, calling out one another where they see errors have been made, and demanding change.
Chris, what's next on the summit? What's on the agenda? What should we expect?
Well, tomorrow we'll have another day of experts and small group conversations that will take place throughout the day on Saturday, and this all will kind of reach its crescendo on Sunday when there will be a final mass in which Archbishop Mark Coleridge from Brisbane, Australia will give the closing homily, and then after that a sort of State of the Union final address from Pope Francis.
All right, Christopher, thank you. As always, good to talk with you.
Thanks, Liz.